Hello class, these are our 110 notes on the effective extremes, and then also we've got 111 notes. So we're going to go ahead and put those two together. All right, so for 110 notes, the big question for 110 is it better to use the mean or median as a center of a data set? So some things to think about here, and I'm going to move my screen. I guess I can't move it any more than I already have. So the mean, I'm going to write gives equal importance, because when you're calculating the mean, you use all the numbers. So it gives equal importance. We add them all up. We divide by how many there are. It's like an average to each value, because we're adding them all up, not just most of them, when finding the center. So they're both a measure of like a center, but the mean we get by taking an average. The median, we just find the middle value. So the mean, because we're using all of those numbers, we're adding them all up, they give them all equal importance. So the median is a little bit different. The median just tells you only the middle value. And because it's only telling you the middle value, it changes to a single value. They don't change the median that much. They don't affect it so much. So if you add a really big number at the end of your data set, like we're going to do in class, you're going to notice that the median still doesn't change. So changes to a single value usually do not affect the median much. So ideas about when to use the mean versus the median. So we would want to use the mean if we have a very symmetrical data set. So when the data is symmetrical, so that's my word right here. These blanks are not big enough. I am sorry about that. Or there are no extreme values in the data. So if you've got symmetrical or there's no extreme values, it would work better. And the mean uses every data point when calculating, right? We already talked about that. So extreme data has a larger effect. So we kind of already said the part about giving equal importance to each value, but we didn't say that extreme values have a larger effect, but they do. Get a little stray mark there. And then over here where it says median, the median is going to work better for you when your data is skewed. So if your data is skewed, so remember skewed to be something like this, the median is going to find the one in the middle of all those. So it's going to still give you like a data mark that's over here somewhere, a data point over there. Whereas if you look at the mean and you're looking at the average of all these, it'll kind of drag that over because of all the values that are out here that are kind of basically outliers. So basically if it's skewed or if we have any outliers, and really we want to call those extreme values. So values that are very different from the rest, that are pretty far off. And then moving on to 111. 111, we're looking at interquartile range. So we find the interquartile range, or IQR. It's by taking Q3 and subtracting Q1 from it. So remember, this is like our third quartile. And we're subtracting our first quartile, just to write that out in words if you've forgotten what they stand for. So remember, that's on that box plot where we've got our minimum, and then our box here is going to be our first quartile, median, third quartile, and then our other maximum. So the interquartile range would be this part, and that would be half of the data values. Remember, because we have a quarter of our data values here, a quarter of them here, a quarter of them here, and a quarter out here. So we have quartiles. So it's going to be that middle half of the data. So the interquartile range measures the variability in data. So if that range is a really big number, right, that's measuring how far from here to here. So the bigger that number, the more the data is spread out. So the larger, these blanks are a little bit better, the IQR, the more varied or widespread the data is. Use the IQR when using the median. It goes along with the median as a measure of central tendency. So you do have a practice page to work on for 110 and 111. So these notes you should go ahead and put in your folder, and then make sure you do the practice for this section. As always, ask questions in class